We begin with the state of the Nigerian polity amid defections by opposition political office holders, especially from the main opposition People's Democratic Party to the governing All Progressives Congress, APC. Even as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Nentawe Yilwatda, says several prominent members of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, or coalition party, have completed their medicals, in quote, and will be joining the ruling party next week. The wave of defection in the opposition intensified in the week with the shocking resignation of the governor of Bayelsa State from the People's Democratic Party. Now, while the governor has not specifically mentioned his next political move, there are strong indications that he's heading to the APC. Now, the resignation follows the heels of defection of PDP Governor Peter Mbah and his entire cabinet members to APC. Now, quote, the politics of defection, as we know it, has taken strong toll on the opposition minority in both chambers of the National Assembly, with the governing APC surpassing two-thirds majority in the Senate. While APC welcomes the defection, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, slams the wave of defection, especially in his native region, the Southeast, rejecting any possible capture of the region by APC, just as many others fear that Nigeria appears to be quickly turning into a one-party state, a situation they believe is inimical for democracy to thrive. Well, to help us make sense of the politics of defection in Nigeria is the former National Secretary of the defunct Alliance for Democracy, Professor Udenta. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Samna. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, so good to have you.
It's a pleasure, you know.
Yeah, I mean, after quite some time.
After quite some time, absolutely.
So, I would like to start by this. Are we heading towards a zero party? I mean, not just a one-party state, but a zero-party state.
The matter at hand is more fundamental than whether we have one-party state, going to have a multi-party democracy, or even two strong parties. This goes to the core of what I call the principle and logic of the moral tenor in politics. It's not about the big party and the small party. APC, of course, is suffering what I call political flatulence and obesity, because when you gorge so much, that means gluttony.
Yeah.
So when you gorge so much, then you get so. PDP was into that situation.
Yeah, it's
after 2003.
Very well.
The entire Southwest, Lagos was PDP, Southeast entirely was PDP, South PDP, North Central basically, even Kaduna, Katsina. Remember Jigawa, Central, all over the place. They overgorged and they needed to disgorge. APC is now gorging, so it will soon disgorge.
So it's a phase.
It's a phase. You see, 2023 was an epistemic rupture, or what they can call epistemic break in our own calculus about power dynamics. You saw him there, Peter Obi came from nowhere, no governor, no senator, no rep, no councillor. Took the nation by storm. On this studio, I said there will be a massive landfall.
Yeah,
this one 2027 will be a bigger landfall. It's part of the defections.
Interesting.
Of course, because the mandate is the people's mandate. Anybody that comes to this studio or speaks anywhere and talks about defection as if it is a calamitous existential for the parties doesn't understand the politics.
And this is not new.
It's not new because, one, let's rewind. The fetish about the Constitution, the governors are protected. Once you have a crisis in your party, once you have any sign of trouble, you can walk. That's the fetish of the constitutional provision. That's what we call forbearance and tolerance. Nations are run by norms. Ujo Madeke one time as the advisor to Obasanjo said, I don't know whether I'll be sacked if I leave the studio. AIT then said, Mr. President, I want this law to be amended, the Constitution, so that your power can be stripped. If a president exercises 60% of the power he has, including the current one, he will not live in this country. He can't exercise it because it's forbearance and tolerance. So a governor has no name in the ballot paper. It's a party.
It's the political
From 1999, as I said, second national secretary, we had a station in Oyo State where we won. We didn't know who won. It was clear AD won. But then who won the election? When Mbah of Enugu State went to contest for an election, we had PDP, we had APC, we had other parties there, Labour Party. The people voted on a symbol. They don't know him. He's the carrier of a party's message. The party is what they recognize by the Constitution, by the Supreme Court even. So you now have taken millions of the vote of a people, desecrated it, desacralized it, in a manner of cultural surrender to some external invading force, and abandon the mandate of the people. And people are clapping.
Well,
it is not clapping because they're going to win election next time, but the very moral fabric, the ethical foundation of the political order is what is at stake. The character of some political elite.
Now, Professor Udenta, I'm asking you this because when there was this experiment in the aborted Third Republic for an SDP and NRC to be brought in place by Babangida, I don't know if he would have, foresaw something like this, because I'm imagining, what if we had only these two parties, SDP and NRC, way up till this period now? So are we saying that once SDP is in power, like Abiola had won, so everybody in NRC would have dissolved into SDP? Or if NRC was in power, everybody in SDP would dissolve into...
That's not going to happen.
I don't know.
Now. In 1999, there were 3 parties. By 2003, if I'm not mistaken, Apoga had been added to the mix.
Yes.
DPP eventually came, and a few others.
Yes.
So between 2003 and 2007, it was like multi-party democracy. 1999 was something a little bigger than two-party system, with a smaller ADMI party in the mix with APP and the PDP. By 5, 7, 8 years later, there were about sometimes 7 parties. Now we have at the time, we grew up to 80-something parties before they started whittling them down. Possibly now about 70, 80, 90, with some new ones coming in.
Yes.
Politics has a way of rebalancing itself. PDP was dominant for 16 years. The other smaller parties couldn't catch up in their individualities and their pluralities or singularity. They didn't come together as a multiform force, as a coherent and cohesive group. They did so in 2003 and then bettered APC as a special purpose vehicle for the sake of seeking power, and they got it in 2015. Now they've been in power for 8 years, and because so reason, this government, this presidency, Mr. President is frightened of his legacy, of his accomplishment. Because if you are strong, you work on your party, grow the party internally, and say, this is what I have done for 2, 3, 4 years. I will run on my own accomplishments. This government can't run its accomplishment. You have to run on the decapitation of the multi-party democratic framework. That means if you crush all the opposition parties and they are limping, you literally re-enter in 2027. A brilliant strategy if people understand what it's doing. Now, how do you checkmate that? It happened again pre-2013. PDP was rampant. Then CPC, ACN, etc. started coming together. Now you have a PDP that is weakened, still standing, but not what it used to be as a behemoth. You have ADC coming on stream. You have even a new one. People are not watching. ADA.
Yeah.
It has completed, I can tell you for free, it has completed its processes.
All the processes.
All the processes. Absolutely. And that party is, of course, is untainted. It's clean. ADC has a lot of issues.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what I heard.
16
court cases. They may eventually dissolve into the ADA. I'm telling you, there's another one people are having. ADA. Watch this name. It will grow in leaps and bounds in the next weeks and months to come, depending what happens with the big opposition parties. So again, they will come together. Factions of the Labour Party, tendencies within these other ones there, they could build a new coalition of force that can give APC a run for the money 2027. But at the end of the day, for me, it's not even a bigger party or smaller party. It's for me where this democracy lies. In 2003, my party went into an unholy alliance of a sort with PDP. Yeah, because I wanted to remind you of that. Out of 6 states, 4 were taken away. Only
only one.
Lam additional.
No, all of them were gone.
And then, of course, you had Tinubu and all of that.
I can tell the story.
I mean, it was
Tinubu was the only one that survived it. Narrowly squeaked through. He didn't run to the center. He didn't say, I want to join the ruling. If you can't beat them, join them. He dug in, built his infrastructure, strengthened Lagos, and slowly started taking back the states. He felt were inorganically taken away. Osun was the first, Ekiti, Oyo, etc., etc. Today, the same president and his team are browbeating, intimidating, cowardly governors, to leave their party.
Yeah,
he didn't leave his party.
Some people say that they are using the 2003 strategy.
He stood firm. He stood firm. Many governors are standing firm. There could be few. These ones have what I call lack of lineage of power, ancestry of power, or genealogy of power. I'm from Enugu State. The governor of Gepitamba, he has no lineage of power. I don't know where he's coming from politically. I don't know. In this state, I don't know who mentored him.
You would have seen people like Sullivan Chime and Namani and all of that.
Who mentored him? Who groomed him? Because, you see, cultural surrender is when you don't even understand the socio-political and strategic landscape of the country and the party you are bringing into the heart of Igbo land. That is where original Eastern Nigeria was better. That's the way the capital.
Yeah, but there's APC in Ebonyi State, there's APC in other states
when I tell you about growing a party, organic growth of a party, a governor woke up one day, called on mine, and said, I'm no longer PDP. I use the muscle I have, the resources I have, in a poverty-stricken environment like you have across Nigeria, where almost everybody depends on the apparatus of the state for survival. I'm going to APC. Who will oppose him? The few who eat from me will go through it, but the masses will speak. As they spoke in 2023 in his own state, as they don't speak 2027 in across Igbo land and across Nigeria.
Now, very interesting perspective there. Let's talk about how some people say that President Bola Tinubu has smarted people like Atiku Abubakar, Jonathan, Obi, and all of that.
In what sense?
Do you think that they could actually measure up to this president who many say is the first politician, real-time politician to become president in 2027?
Politics is convulsive in its fluid movement. We don't know where we are today. We cannot predict where we are today. We can predict where you are in the next 2, 3, or 4 months. In the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, forces will realign. Except these politicians have died off. I don't think they've died away. Those even are displacing. Politicians are ghosts. Always to tell people, it can never pin them down in a place. But the moment they sense the weakening of this glutinous body, they begin to take a walk. And don't forget again, there's some other parties waiting in the wings. Take NBC, for example. You dislodged the entire apparatus of APC. You humiliated the sitting minister. He didn't even give a soft landing. You just asked the state chairman of the party, get away, everybody run. Governor is coming in. They're human beings. They're waiting in the wings. Primary elections will come and go. Many, 70-80% will not even smell it. Other parties will open their arms and say, come back to us. We
That's
know.
For those who will lose tickets.
Of course, that is what happens. So you find an ABC champion in Enugu State becomes a PDP champion, or an ADC champion, or an ADA champion. That happens, so you don't even know the contours of and dynamics of this power that is evolving to 2027. Run on the basis of record, the president is toast. Because there's nothing. Even the World Bank, talking about the macroeconomic stability, said he grew poverty beyond Buhari's level, from 133 billion to 139 million.
But politically, Udenta, I mean, this is someone you've worked with. I mean, shouldn't you be given Tinubu some flowers? I mean, as someone who has been able to come this far, despite what happened ahead of 2023.
On various stages, I gave him credit. Even a few days ago, I said, in 2003, he was last man standing. He didn't fold over. The defenders unleashed war on him, took away local government apparatus he created, seized the money the way they've done with Osun State, who is still going nowhere, who is in court, challenging. That's ancestral, base of several powerful figures in the West there. Even our young governor, Makinde, is standing firm with the convention of his party. The governor of Bauchi State, the chairman of the governors forum, Bala Mohammed, he received the president via the vice president just a few days ago. And later I said, my party is my party. I'm going nowhere. So you can respect a sitting president and the apparatus of governance, the center, be loyal to a party. But Tinubu did it 2003. I gave him kudos for that. He didn't only stop at Lagos, he grew. My worry is the chicken-hearted, godless, and cowardly governors who will not take that template.
Well, there are still about 3 of them that we hear
I'm giving them the description. Who will not take that template? We say, Mr. President, stop pressing us. Nobody pressed you in 2003. You stood firm as opposition. You survived it. You grew even the brand in your zone. Allow us where we are. We are part of Nigeria. We're not an appendage of the federal. And for the case of the governor of Enugu State, who talked about the Southeast denying, APC, the PDP, then the Southeast, the presidency, it's going to come of it. Let's trace the history. 1999, we were part of the conversation post-Abacha, post-Abiola. What brought Obasanjo and not Ekweme? Seeing the presidency, ultimately went to every state in the Southeast. At the time, the powerful deputy president, powerful deputy speaker, at the time, chairman, Senate Committee on Works, House Committee on Works, not to talk of SGF, not to talk of the coordinating minister of the economy with international global acclaim, central bank governor. Under Obasanjo presidency, and Igbo's son was even presumed to be the most powerful for 8 years, if you remember the name I'm talking about. Yeah, for 8 years. For 8 years. Doing and undoing. And beyond that, the Ejirika was the first army chief since 1966. 2 IGPs, Okiro and Onovo. And then the presidency, of course, for you to contest with other groups and say, how do you cut tier deals? How do you reach compromises to get it? We've not gotten it. But their son was close by in 2023. Did any of these governors back him? Did they say, oh, hello, this man is not pulling all the weight across the country. Let us support him. He's coming 2027, and these same governors and ministers are telling him, stay away. The job is settled for another.
Well, they said they want to go to the center to actually get this ticket ahead of 2010.
The question you ask yourself is, I wish we have all the more time and have people to fact check me.
Yeah.
Enugu State and KB, which one is performing better? Yes, when this is of development.
Yeah.
Enugu State. And possibly...
Yeah, but when you are the center, there are some benefits that
you
get,
if you're
which he, as the only PDP governor, seems to be missing.
The only way you can get it is when you look at the performance of the states, of the governors already getting it. Kebbi State is getting it. Katsina is getting it. Possibly other states I can't remember now are getting it who are APC. I'm asking you, are they doing better than PDP control states who are not getting whatever? It's something you are getting that is not constitutional. Is that what they're talking about? You mean there's some money the presidency packages and gives to people under the table?
No,
I'm asking, I'm listening.
I'm
saying there's a constitution they have that is federal in nature. I'm not a fetish of constitution. I don't believe fetish. It's not the constitution. You know, it's not a fetish. A governor has means and ways of getting constitutionally prescribed money, beginning from IGR, which you have to develop. Then what is meant for you as allocation, then other special intervention funds due to you. If APC governors, from what we hear, it may be a lie, it may be rumor, it could be a allegation, are getting something under the table. And people are being lured to come and get something under the table. As I said, verify, find out. If that is not the truth, then if your state, you are doing better, better indices of development, than the state at the center, where you are running to, what are you going there to do?
Very interesting perspective. And so in all of this, as we head towards 2027, I want you to talk about the potential opposition presidential candidates that may emerge, maybe to challenge a President Bola Tinubu, who's, I mean, it's given, though he hasn't said he's going to seek second time yet, but of course we all know everybody.
Oh, you mean the president?
Yeah.
He can't be doing what he's doing except seeking second.
Well, he hasn't said so with his own mouth.
I remember at the time, I was among those, I can credit myself with being among those that put a check on that rampage move to remove the vice president even be ahead of time. They went to his zone and said, he will not even run with the president. We're not even giving you the so-called endorsement until the governor of Boron said, no, if you don't give Shetima endorsement with the president for a second time, APC is gone in the Northeast.
Yes.
Even the Villa, the same thing, until the convention already given to the president, he will determine who his vice will be. People like us, loud-mouthed, came out on stage and said, this is awful, this is immoral, this is unethical. That's why they support that. I know they're looking for somebody somewhere. For somebody in the Northwest. Some people even mentioned to me before I came on this studio, if you're coming on the studio, look at Yari, Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara. Watch that person. I don't know whether there's anything there. There could be something there. Okay, that's another matter. But then for the answer to the question, it's simple. On stage, I said, if PDP holds its convention decently, even with all these people escaping, like nomads, and then come out smaller, but cohesive and potent, and the former president picks the ticket, he's the president, he's toast.
Who's the former president?
Jonathan? Yes, of course. He has not said so.
Well,
I'm just saying that he has not said so.
Yeah.
Next to him, for me, will be P2B.
You think that an OB will go back to the PDP?
Politicians, as I said, are calculating human beings. They're looking for opportunities and possibilities. Politics is a game of power. It's out of the possible. If you have an PDP convention, post-convention, and say the former president doesn't want to do it, and it's dangled before it be, and he doesn't see any other platform better than that, you will take it. You know what you do? You infuse more dynamism, more energy. You bring that radical, obedient spirit into it. So if I had a combination of the irrepressible obedient movement, if I had the domain of historical institutions of the Southeast, if I had the urban, warriors who are bitter, and the rest of the country who want change. Well, if you build that coalition,
you will have to battle with the likes of Wiki and all of that. I mean, isn't the reason why they are there because, I mean, they talk here and there is that OB doesn't want to stand for a primary election. So if he does decide to go back to the PDP, I mean, just like Jonathan is saying, he has to be given an automatic ticket. Do you foresee that happening?
Somebody told you that?
Do you foresee that happening?
We're not even there yet. First and foremost, let the party come out of the convention. I wish and pray.
It's been zoned to the south.
That's why they even zoned it to the south. Because when you ask that question about whether the president will contest, precisely the reason the party, PDP, knows the chairman of the Governors Forum, what they call it, the BOT chairman, Barbara, Malam Mohammed, and the rest of them, they know ultimately that this power has to go to the South. That sense of moral impulse that the party lacked in 2015, even like the last cycle, is what they want to redeem. It's a strategic calculation. And what the president wants to do, shut down the political South and neutralize it. If you have almost all the governors in the South and still say, oh my God, I'm only man standing here, let them not levy political war and I can face them. Because the North Central is much more, pluralities there and the diversities that anybody can meander here and there. If you have an Obi or a Jonathan, that's a checkmate. If Obi runs election, PDP or whichever party he takes on the platform, we sweep the South. They know it. Mba knows it, others know it.
You think so?
It is clear.
I mean, with all the federal might and all of that,
so
that these guys have
are we
at the
on
center.
stage talking about federal might now? Okay, the new INEC chairman is possibly deployed to do this with the federal might, or the police, or the army, or the DSS, or the people,
I mean,
or the mandate.
Nigerian politics better than I do.
I don't know.
Now, a whole lot of people who are incumbents would deploy the machinery of the state to ensure that the state works for them.
So clearly now on stage, we are now having a conversation where an APC in a shambolic performance form, growing poverty in the land, with banditry and terrorism, eating to the soul of the nation, ungoverned spaces exploding, but federal might is available. New INEC chairman is coming with a brief. The DSS and the police are available. The army may even shadow, and then the people's will is repressed. That is a dark scenario, dystopian scenario for Nigerian politics. The people will resist politically, constitutionally, and legally any shenanigan on the part of a failed and failing presidency. If you find a situation where a concourse of forces bind together to rescue this nation from this throwback into what I call a hybrid regime that is competitively authoritarian, illiberal in nature, and non-performing, underperforming at least, you have bright spots of resistance, either a former President Jonathan or Peter Obi, for example, because we're talking about the South now. It's a walk in the park.
All right.
The president is toast.
What if an Atiku decides to run and then you have an Obi and then you have a Jonathan? Wouldn't this weaken the opposition and then President Tinubu will use the opportunity to scale through because the opposition divides its votes?
We now look at the landscape. How many parties are in contention? You have an ADC who has picked up the ticket. PDP survived its convention. I mean, that's stronger than it was 6 months back. Who has the ticket? And then APC. Possibly an ADA waiting in the wings. We don't know what happens to ADC and the other opposition parties. It is too early to determine how many will be in this race because we don't know whether they are.
As been in the politics, what will you advise this opposition?
I will tell you.
Because Nigerians are saying let them band together, but it looks like everybody's just going his own way.
There is time. I want to tell people. We are hearing murmur that they want to push the timetable. You just somebody floated a kite to November next year for one reason, some good reasons. For me, that should be 2031 for some good reason. Don't use state resources to prosecute a matter. Let out the courts weigh in with litigation, complete it or to Supreme Court level before you don't take power and they begin to govern. I understand that. But for this time around, people believe that the time is now too short in terms of the calculus, in terms of the mentality of power and politics and its dynamics, what people want. If you do that 2031, fantastic. Now, if you have enough time to say March next 2027 for election, the implication is this. Politicians weigh their options. I can bet you, no Northerner can beat this sitting president. Whoever, by whichever name you describe it, and no Northerner can even beat a strong candidate from the South. You know the reason? Zoning restrains the appetite of power. If you have the president alone with a Northerner, and there's no P2B, and there is no Jonathan in the race, he is won. Because no Northerner will take 10% of the vote in the South. That means 17 states are gone already. But the Southerner can do well in FCT, can do well in Nasarawa, can do well in Plateau, in Benue, in Taraba, in Kaduna, in some of those states there, which you think are a lot more diverse, plural, and inclusive than, say, states of singularities. What they call the Fulani corridor and the Kanuri corridor. But no Northerner is going to take his state in the South when there is no Southerner there. Whoever by name, I don't want to talk about name, but nobody, however described. And I said, debate this matter with me. That is why the president and his people are worried about the prospect of Obi or Jonathan. Because they want the South to be clean. And the clean is to pulverize this cowardly elite, most of the governors and senators say, you fall over on us.
All right, all right.
And if you fall over on us, the implication is that we have the South together. We cannot live a political war on the North. That's not going to happen. There will be a strong Southern contestation of power. Not only the president, one or two other will be in that mix.
All right, just before I let you go, I want you to listen to this statement by the governing APC national chairman. It says some of those who are defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, joined the ADC and now returning to the APC. And this is what Yahya Bello, former governor of Kogi State, is saying, that Your Excellency, Mr. President, you don't even need to come to Kogi State to campaign 2027. Don't do any wahala, that's trouble, that you want to come to Kogi State to campaign for a second time.
Okay.
There is no opposition in Kogi State.
Fine.
When you hear APC leaders speaking this way, how do you feel?
I know how they're speaking that way. Was anybody dodging EFCC for a while, for months? Was there any of the former governors from one of the North Central states dodging EFCC for a long while? No, I mean, it's not me as an opinion. Even sometimes a fisticuff, some gunshots and so on there, city governor protecting him and so on, multi-billion issues with the EFCC. Is that Yahya Bello? Maybe. Okay. You know the reason why he's talking what he's talking. The chairman of APC, the former INEC man, he was INEC rec. I say so on stage. INEC man may know what he's talking about because he has instrumentalist of INEC in his hands. As I said, I'll find it difficult. I'm learning how to pronounce his name now. He too has no lineage. Listen, he too has no lineage of power. Just like the other one, he has no lineage of power. There's no ancestry they have. These people are new chaps in the ring who are enthusiastic and overbloated with confidence about what they know nothing about. The time it will come and the die is cast and set, 2027 will be a watershed moment in our history. The epistemic breakup or rupture of 2023 will be multiplied in multiple fold in 2027.
Well, you're talking so confidently, and I just hope you're doing the work too, alongside all these politicians who are in the opposition.
I don't belong to a party. I don't belong to a party.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'm very close. I'm close. Absolutely.
You've gone through all of this, and that's why I asked you that
mix
statement earlier on. Would Babangida have thought that if we're practicing a two-party system, NRC and SDP, that once one party wins, everybody
I tried to answer that to say that at the end of the day, PDP seemed to have been over-bloated. Almost a one-party state PDP by 2013, 2012, 2011. It didn't happen. This one is again overgorging, gluttonous, with flatulence and obesity. These two will disgorge, and we're going to rebalance and have multi-party democratic conversation going forward.
Very interesting perspective. Dear Professor Udenta is the former National Secretary of the defunct Alliance for Democracy, and of course he's helped us to understand all that's been happening here. And of course, the major thing is that Nigerians have to ensure that the electoral system works.
It has to work.
If the electoral system doesn't work,
nothing will be
pretty difficult.
Absolutely
Any
nothing
word
will
for
work.
the new INEC chairman before you go?
He's coming with a lot of problems. The institution he's going to superintend or preside over has no credibility, has zero credibility, has no legitimacy. His CV seems to okay from what I've read in the papers and so on. That's a professor of law. Yeah. But I don't know who picked him, because who picked him is the deliberate choice. This government is he's intentional. When he brought the GMD of NNPC, he's from North Central, but then we know where he's from. He's Yoruba. This one again is Kogi, but he's Yoruba Kogi. So he find this, this is what I call the hegemonies of power. Right. Three hegemonies of power: presidency, military, security, finance, now INEC. Masquerading as Kogi, but at the same time, he has a lot of burden. So I wish him to understand where he is in, do the best he can to rescue his reputation. The reputation of that institution is already in tatters.
All right. We must thank you so much, Professor Udenta, and we appreciate your wealth of knowledge. And we just hope these politicians will actually keep up to the dictates of what is expected by Nigerians. I mean, we want free, fair, and credible elections, and let the voice of the people be the one that will actually show up on election day, and of course the result sheets. We must thank you so much for joining us.